Good morning and good afternoon. Yeah, this is a cringe way to start a podcast. But we are back, and today we are joined by Leonard, Lorenzo. I'm sorry, Lorenzo.
Leonardo,
Yeah,
Michelangelo.
yeah, the TMT.
Everybody hates me!
No, little dude. Honest.
Hold on. I hate him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we already teased our episode in the last one, and today we're going to talk about Oppenheimer,
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
which is a sick movie by one of the best director of his generation.
Of our time.
Yeah. Probably we can compare him to Kubrick. In a way, and Hitchcock.
Take milkshake.
Because he is also the movie was actually teased during Tenet. Because if you remember, Tenet was about a bomb, and Oppenheimer was in a speech.
You're familiar with the Manhattan Project? As they approached the first atomic test, Oppenheimer became concerned that the detonation might produce a chain reaction.
Nothing would. They went ahead anyway and got lucky.
Think of our scientist as her generation's Oppenheimer. She devises a method for enverging the world, but becomes convinced that by destroying us, they're destroying themselves.
The grandfather paradox.
But unlike Oppenheimer, she rebels, splitting the algorithm into 9 sections and hiding them the best place she can think of.
The past. Here, now.
There are 9 nuclear bombs.
And most people expected it to come out after Tenet. So the intention was to represent the life of Oppenheimer, which was a scientist who fled from Germany during the Second World War, and he was tasked with the creation of the atomic bomb. Nolan decided to take a different approach. Instead of focusing just on his life, he wanted to understand the character, the man behind one of the worst inventions in the human history.
Worst human invention ever made.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but
Wait, why is that the worst invention ever made?
it's kind of self-explanatory. It kind of teaches men that like women are just lights, and like when men use lights too much, it like kind of ruins their perception of women and like the touch of a woman. So like, I think it's might be the worst invention ever made.
Well, it depends on your perspective, because I mean, nuclear is good, but as usual, the mankind isn't able to apply it in a useful way.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
What do you think, Lorenzo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's arguable because if you think about it, we didn't have another world war since the atomic bomb was invented.
What did it cost?
Everything.
I firmly believe that we would have had multiple world wars without the atomic bomb, because we have a mutual assured destruction principle. This
Yeah.
means that since the atomic bomb was invented, we have had only minor local conflicts. Which were propped up by superpowers, but we didn't have a major conflict like World War I and World War II.
Life could be worse. No, not really. This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and arguably the 7 Years' War.
Well, all right.
So
Lorenzo.
you might say that the atomic bomb has brought more peace.
You are calling it, okay? You are calling it. I'm going to write it down, and in a few years we're going to see if you were right, because we're kind of like dancing with the fire.
You shut up! I'm so fucking scared right now. You shut up!
Since the 2010s, so maybe peace. I
don't think it's been since the 1950s.
Yeah.
The 50s we have been dancing with fire.
Sure.
Nothing happened because the people who rule the world are corrupt. They are evil, but they aren't stupid.
Yeah, sure, but you can also say that
they perfectly know what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the movie, we can say that works more as a cautionary tale about the potential for mankind to annihilate itself.
Well, yes, but the thing I like about this movie is that you have several layers.
Exactly.
So you have it's also true that the Germans, which is historically documented, the Germans were working on the atomic bomb. They were producing heavy water in Norway. And if Oppenheimer did not do what he did, the Germans would have come to the atomic bomb before America. Yeah. And they could probably have won the war.
Yeah.
So the world would have been much worse if Oppenheimer didn't. And you see the moral conflict in him, because he himself did say when people confronted him about the atomic bomb in the movie that he was doing this to allow America to win and to stop the Germans, because Oppenheimer fled from Nazi Germany. But he's morally conflicted because the bomb he built was used against Japan after Germany lost the war, before the atomic bomb was fully developed. And you see a moral conflict because some people still today have doubts if using the atomic bomb against a country like Japan, which was going to lose the war anyways, was actually useful or to prevent more American and Japanese people to die, even more than how many actually did die. Because if America did not bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, America would have been forced to land in Japan, which would have meant a bloody conflict, which would have meant the Second World War would have lasted more, because Japan was not going to surrender. The Japanese were fanatical warriors, fanatical loyal to the emperor, and some people says that it was hard, it was cruel, but it was necessary to build the atomic bomb for America and end the war and do what actually happened. It was the least evil.
Evil is evil, Stragable. Lesser, greater, middling. It's all the same.
Yeah, so...
And you see very well the moral conflict inside the mind of Oppenheimer, because he saw himself as responsible, and he felt like he had to pay for this, to punish himself, because he saw himself as responsible.
Yeah, even though...
so you have multiple layers, you know.
Yeah, as you said, there are multiple layers, but Nolan doesn't want to redeem the scientist or to glamorize him, because sure, he felt like a sinful person after the accident of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but the movie doesn't try to paint him as a person who was all good and naive. Actually, the movie paints him as a bit egocentric, a narcissist who just wanted to be remembered for the bomb. I remember that there is most of the movie is about not just Oppenheimer, but also Strauss, who wants to destroy his image just for the sake of his ignorance, because sure, the movie seems like a biopic, but it's more like a sort of action, historical action flick. I mean, we can discuss about the morality of each character, but the point is that Nolan didn't want to say that Oppenheimer or the American acted the right way, or that it was the only choice. I think that Nolan wanted to show us what does it mean to sacrifice our own ideology or our own life in the name of something which is just destruction for the sake of it. Because war here isn't in the front, so we don't perceive it. But there is this undertone that even though the bomb stopped the last war, actually it created another, which is fought on another battleground. Today we don't have wars on battlefields. Actually, there are some, but most of the most wars are fought it's just more it's more about politics and data.
Yes.
And economy.
Yeah, the deaths in war has declined in the last decades.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for.
So the world has become more peaceful.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always!
Actually, even if we have multiple conflicts active in the world, if you compare the millions that died in the World War I, the world today is much more peaceful.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
dead.
Are you sure about that?
Sure, but I don't think that it could be considered a peace.
So on one hand, yes, we have. You could say we have economic warfare today, or technological warfare. You could even say that since the Cold War, we have known different way for superpowers and powers to clash, since they can't directly clash anymore with their own armies like they used to do because of the atomic bomb, but they have found new ways to clash with each other, say the arms race, the space race, the technological race between the US and China today for chips, the race for the AI, to develop AI and possibly use it in a military application, which could have several groundbreaking implications. And the economic warfare of buying each other assets, like China is doing in Africa, in Europe. The economic competition between powers, which is doing victims indeed.
Yeah. Well, you can say that there are less deaths.
I don't think it's black and white. I think the world we live in post nuclear, the nuclear age, has pros and cons. Okay, because on one hand, the biggest pro, I believe, that if it wasn't for the atomic bomb, okay, we would have a confrontation between the US and the Soviet Union in the last century, and it would have been military. So we would have been World War III already without the atomic bomb, because the atomic bomb was the only thing that prevented the USA and the Soviet Union to clash directly. Instead, they had several proxy wars, the Cuban Revolution, the coups in South America, in Africa, in Asia, all that kind of things. Several subtle, indirect conflicts, But if it wasn't for the atomic bomb, we would have been in trenches in this very moment. The cause is that the biggest cause is if the World War happens, it's the end of the world, of course. But I tend to be optimistic because I don't think, because if you look at history, okay, people try to do forecasts about the future, and some people did very optimistic forecast, and like utopias. Like in the 50s, they imagined that we would have had flying cars, we would have eliminated hunger and poverty from the world, but it didn't happen. The world is still fucked up, but it's not even a dystopia like 1984. The thing is, what you need to take away from utopias and dystopias, and you could say that Oppenheimer is some kind of warning of a dystopian, that is nuclear war, is that you need to pay attention, of course, but it looks like history always take the middle ground between utopia and dystopia. So we didn't have a nuclear war yet. The Cold War ended with no direct confrontation between NATO and the Warsaw Pact. So it's like history is more realistic than men. Men tend to either do utopias or dystopias, and history takes the middle way. So you never have neither a perfectly good situation future or a perfectly bad future. It's always something in the middle, something with pros and cons. Today we live in a world that is in a lot of ways much better than the past. We have much less poverty than the past. We have much less wars than the past. But in other ways, it's worse because we didn't used to risk the end of the world, before the atomic bomb was invented. This is the message of the main message of Oppenheimer to the world, beside showcasing the moral conflict inside Oppenheimer of developing or not the atomic bomb, because I think it was inevitable, and Oppenheimer is just the sacrificial lamb of history, because if it wasn't Oppenheimer, it would have been someone else. Okay.
Yeah,
so
but may I?
It's like AI, if you prohibit it, okay, because you're scared of the AI or nuclear energy, someone else will do it, because history only goes forward.
Yeah, but may I suggest another point of view? Because you pointed out an optimistic approach to the matter. In my opinion, well, probably I will be considered a doomerist, but
I'm more realistic than optimistic.
I don't know, realism it's
because I'm not even catastrophistic, but neither too much optimism. I think the world will take some kind of trajectory and a new balance will be found.
Well,
this is what I believe.
We are at a crossroad.
It's going to be a lot different, but not worse in every aspect.
I don't know, worse, better, it depends, okay? I mean, sure, you can say that. Well, we talked about the ideas concerning the movie, but we didn't actually consider the movie. So,
yes,
you had one job.
I think that it would be fair to say something about the movie itself. I mean, we are both on the same side. I think we both
Yes.
loved it, and well, probably you were expecting something like first the movie and then the considerations, but today we went backwards for a reason. I don't know. So about the movie, uh, in my opinion, everything, the cinematography is quite remarkable. The acting is top notch.
The world will remember this day.
The direction is there. I mean, you can actually tell that this is a Nolan movie. There is also the fact that this is a movie about a scientist, and most of the movie is about people talking about science.
Gee, this whole Communist Party thing's the bee's knees. I think I should go cheat on my wife.
Hold it right there, pal. Are you Robert Oppenheimer?
In the flesh. And this here is my dog, Screwball.
Listen here, Oppenheimer. We in the U.S. military think you can help us win this war.
With what exactly?
We need you to kill up.
On paper, it would have been the most boring experience ever, but Nolan managed to make it exciting and rewatchable. The fact that the movie is able to keep you on your seat for 3 hours without knowing about a meeting between Einstein and Oppenheimer, because it's all about what Einstein told to Oppenheimer. And it's kind of crazy, actually. There are a lot of actors, a lot of Oscar winners, which elevate the quality of this flick, and I think that sure, there are a lot of good things. There are also some some defects. I would say that sometimes there are sometimes it drags, but not that much.
Physics and New Mexico, huh? My God.
The political aspects of the movie, sometimes it's a bit on the way. Sure, I know that Oppenheimer was a communist for some. It probably was a communist. Probably
he was a leftist.
Yeah.
He used to sympathize, but he later denied to be a communist.
Yeah, I mean, he was a leftist.
Of course, he was more of a leftist.
Yeah, and he was marked as a communist. Okay, but the movie, I don't know, the political aspects sometimes felt a bit forced. I mean, I just wanted to know about his relationships, the creation of the bomb.
But that was actually the aim. It was an important aspect of the movie, because the second part of the movie was about him being accused of being a communist sympathizer, because the Soviet Union reached the atomic bomb, and they knew that it was because of a mole inside the Manhattan Project, a Soviet spy, and they suspected him. So politics was an important part
Sure, it
in
was
this
important, but
movie.
in my
And
opinion, was
if you do a biopic, when
yeah.
you do a biopic, you need to include all the most aspect of a person
Yeah.
life. No,
There is also the part.
I think it's in. I think this movie is very long, and it manages to create a constant, very high, very
And
fast pace.
Well, that was intense right there.
Tension, also.
Very fun. Tension
there
for
was also
every single moment, even when people are taking a coffee and talking about
quantum
the
physics.
most casual of things, you feel the tension, like the speed, the camera, the music. It keeps tension for 3 hours, which is both an original thing, of course, and that makes, like you said, people talking about science less boring and more entertaining. But I found it very exhausting.
Yeah.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Because I got very tired watching this movie. I might watch again because it's a masterpiece. I think it is a masterpiece, one of the best movie of this director. But it's going to. I need a lot of time because before I do it again, because it's very taxing to watch this movie. Like 3 hours of very high tension, very fast pace.
Yeah.
It's not like most movie you see where you have an arc, of it starts slowly, then it slowly escalate, then at the conclusion you have a good ending, and you go back to a slow pace. No, the movie starts with Nolan tries to kill his professor, and you have this frenetic pace, just right on from the first minute, the first seconds of the movie, and it's like this throughout all the movies. I also found the trial part a bit boring because it's a trial, and you had people accusing him of being a Soviet Union spy, Soviet spy, sympathizer. Why you did take part in left-leaning unions. You created a scientist union inside the university, blah blah blah, and they kept accusing him. It got quite boring after the test scene, the atomic bomb test scene. But overall, it's an intense experience.
Yeah, sometimes the movie should have slowed down a bit, like
yes,
show me
course,
something like a scene where the characters are quiet.
Quite talking about, the kind of scenes where they talk about the personal life of Oppenheimer, like his frustration about the lover, the wife. It should have been more slow paced. Also, the dialogues with Einstein, it should have been more slow paced. But no, the whole movie is constant. It has constant fast pace.
Yeah, the cause of it,
which is,
I think that, as you said, is is the soundtrack, which is
atypical.
quite remarkable.
It's very atypical.
I mean, the soundtrack is wonderful, okay? But every scene is music. I mean, from the start to the end, there is the soundtrack, and the soundtrack isn't even like a simple background music. It's done in a way that sometimes in the theater, the rooms was like shaking. I think that it was intended, and the movie was shaking itself. It was exhausting also because the tension was escalating, and the music was escalating with it, and the people around you were shaking with you. It was immersive, but sometimes too immersive. This is probably why you weren't able to.
A bit bombastic.
Yeah, I mean, usually you can expect it from a Michael Bay movie or a general action movie.
Do you know who ate all the donuts?
A generic movie, but from a biopic, it's kinda hard. So odd. There is also the fact that, well, I didn't quite understand.
It's both a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Really.
There's also the
because
fact that
it makes unique. It makes the movie unique and standalone, but it's also exaggerating too much.
Yeah, and as always, Nolan has this like I don't know if it's a fetish or it's like a tendencies, like it isn't able to tell a story without starting from in a chronological order. Okay, so for someone who has never seen anything about Nolan, this movie can be quite disorienting because there are two timelines, one which goes forward and one which goes backwards, and everything culminates in
I think he experimented this the timeline thing and the soundtrack with Tenet.
Time travel. No. Inversion.
Sure. And it isn't even the first movie.
Both things you can. Yes.
Because
it's not something you can see in Interstellar. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but
because the plot was linear.
Yeah, but there is in Memento. You can find it in Memento.
As a hairpin, like that. That's basically the end of the movie. This stuff is the black and white stuff. This is color. And this is running backwards as a series of jumps. And what we do is we cut between the two the whole way through. So we alternate scene here, scene there, scene there, scene there, scene there, scene there, and they meet towards the end of the film. But then within this, you have flashbacks to a different timeline, which is actually even earlier, somewhere around there. Also within this, you have flashbacks to an earlier time, also somewhere around there. So I guess you could use the hairpin shape to represent.
For example,
Mm-hmm.
Memento, which is another movie where the story isn't told in a chronological order, but there are also two timelines. In a way, this movie it's a culmination.
That was the point of them.
Yeah, this movie is a culmination of all his works, all his experience. Sure, but at this point, I don't know what can he do next. I mean, how is he going to top this? I've heard that he is interested in directing 2 or 3 James Bond movies. I don't know if you ever heard about that. And I mean,
I heard something, but I don't know. If the movie was teased during Tenet, maybe there was a tease during this movie.
I mean, Nolan is able to surpass himself, to outdo himself, to get us more and more, to keep us interested in his craft. But I don't know, this is magnum opus, so what's after that? I'm so like I don't know, I'm speechless actually. This movie left me speechless, to be honest. Because I was thrilled and tense and sad and happy. I mean, a lot of emotions. The only aspect of the movie which actually I don't like at all is the fact that it was released with Barbie. This is the only thing which I don't like actually, because Barbie was a fraud.
Oh yes.
And the fact that a movie like Barbie, which is an antithesis to Oppenheimer, because Oppenheimer tries to show us, at least tries to tell us that we can change the status quo, and Barbie just want to retain it. It's so bad, in my opinion. I mean, sure, it helped both to get a profit, but I mean, there is also the fact that Barbie managed to earn more than Oppenheimer. Why?
For marketing.
Yeah, but it's maddening, in my opinion. It's so maddening because it wasn't deserved.
The masses can't appreciate Nolan's genius and magical thinking.
Yeah, Nolan is has always been considered like a popular artist which is able to give a mix of Kubrick and action movies. Okay, it's like Kubrick with action movies. Okay, but there are a lot of people which consider him only as a cyberlotic director, because when you think about Nolan, the first movie which comes to mind is Inception. Every times you want to talk about Inception, the average person always says, "Oh, it's so hard to understand. It's so every Nolan movie is so hard. I don't have the mind to watch it." Okay, but I mean, this is the point of cinema. If you want to go and watch a movie which is intended for an audience which just want to shut off his the brain, you can go watch I don't know, any Hallmark movie, or I mean, there is a lot of crap around. But
I like to watch light-hearted movie sometimes.
Okay.
So it's not something I condemn to watch something a bit more simple. But yeah, there are moments where I need more complex movies, more intellectually stimulating movie.
Yeah, because the problem today with movies, because
Christopher Nolan is the right person.
Yeah, and there is also the fact that he explained in an interview that the movie is a metaphor for his career, because he considered the bomb the Dark Knight trilogy.
What do you propose? It's simple. We kill the Batman.
If it's so simple, why haven't you done that?
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Especially the Dark Knight, because he introduced Hollywood to the possibility that superhero movies can be profitable, and involuntarily he changed the industry, because Marvel introduced the concept of franchises, and in a way, directly or indirectly, it's what is ruining the art, in my opinion. Scorsese said that, actually. So maybe Nolan sees himself as a Oppenheimer who tried to show, who tried to do something good, but in the end created like a monster indirectly. And
it's
this,
like,
yeah,
it's like complaining that you created nuclear energy to free humanity from carbon emissions and blame that person because someone else used it to create the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Because the Dark Knight trilogy was incredible.
Yeah, and paradoxically,
but if you can't blame Nolan if Marvel and DC to an extent in the superhero genre, if you like, because to be honest, the first Marvel movies, I'm not a Marvel fan, and neither DC. I'm not a superhero fan in general, but the first Marvel movie were not bad. Were actually quite good. I liked Spider-Man. The first one was great. I liked the first Iron Man. But I think they decreased quality over time because they understood that people would have watched them anyway.
They took things for granted.
Like cut expense on quality to increase margins, but you can't blame Nolan for this.
And it's kind of
he
ironic.
Always tries to do. Yes.
You know, it's kind of ironic the fact that we are in the same situation now because Nolan is showing to Hollywood that this kind of movies are what bring the people to the cinemas, to the theater, and Hollywood won't learn anything from it. They just they will try to recreate the Barbenheimer. They will try to emulate the Barbenheimer, but they didn't understand that the people want good movies with good direction, with good writing, with a good soundtrack, with good acting. And unfortunately, Hollywood is more like a pipeline right now, so they don't care about creating original movies. So Nolan is like Prometheus in a way. He showed us that we can be better, that the cinematic experience could be better, but well, I don't think that it will be listened. Yeah. So now I think that this movie deserves a 9 out of 10. I'm not giving it a 10 because I don't believe that 10 is possible. So 9 is good. So what about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Say yes. Not more than 9. Yes, I could give a 9 too.
Yeah.
But yes, be prepared because it's going to be tiring to watch this movie, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're here after watching the movie, you are with us. You understand us. If you are not among the ones who watched it, just be careful. Just prepare yourself. You don't have to hold it, okay? Just don't drink before going into the theater, okay? And you'll be fine, okay? Prepare yourself mentally, psychologically, and you will appreciate it. So, Lorenzo, how would you like to end this episode? So, that's all, and usually
that's all, folks.
Yeah. Would you like me to put in like the logo, like the
yes.
Yeah, you want
the Looney Tunes.
You want that? Okay, so I will do it for you. Okay. And what's the hashtag?
Hashtag atomic bomb.
Okay. Okay. Hashtag atomic bomb. And as always, hit the button, like, subscribe, and comment. You can find
press the bell.
Yeah, press the bell. You can also find us on Spotify and on Instagram. If you want, you can check Barbie, the podcast about Barbie, or the podcast about Avatar. There is also a podcast about the Western animation, and we are going to close. This is the end. So have a nice evening, and yeah, hashtag atomic bomb.